want. It's about what you want. What do you really want? So many times when you're growing up, our parents would ask us, what do you want? What do you really want? You know, I know my mom did. She got frustrated sometimes with us. What do you really want? You're not eating what I want. What do you want? Right. And restaurants, waitresses ask you, what can I do? What can I get for you? What would you like? And there's so many. God gives us a free will to decide. And what come to my mind this morning, which is I'm recording now, is what does this country want? What does not only the country, but what does the church of God want? What does the church really want? What are they looking for? They're looking for leadership that will take them out of problems when they need to look to God for their situations. They need to look to God for their holiness. They need to look to God for their help. They need to see what there is and what God can do for them. And they want prosperity. They want good things. They want all these things. And we all do. There's so many preachers out there preaching prosperity that is not even of God. Sure, he wants us to prosper, but he says, what do you want? I want to be wanted. We all want to be wanted. We all want to be wanted. Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter. Let me bring it up here. The 30th chapter, starting with the 15th verse, says, see, I have set before you today life and prosperity, death and adversity, in that I command you today to love the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commandments and his statutes and his judgments, that you may live and multiply, and that the Lord your God may bless you in the land where you are entering to possess. But if your heart be far from it, and you will not obey, but will be drawn away and worship other gods and serve them, I declare to you today that you shall surely perish. That's harsh. You shall surely perish if you don't serve God. That's true. There's a choice. Heaven or hell. If you don't serve God, you go to hell. It doesn't matter who runs the country. It is what you want. It is what's in your heart spiritually. It's what God gives us a question today to have. But if your heart turns away and you will not obey, but will be drawn away and worship other gods and serve them, I declare to you today that you shall surely perish. You will not prolong your days in the land where you were crossing the Jordan to enter and possess it. I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. So choose in order that you may live, you and your descendants. Now this is important, what we choose, because it's what's coming on this world, whether we get President Trump or President Clinton, no matter what, we still need to have God. We still need to have that relationship with God. So when things happen, we'll know whether we're going to heaven or hell. And when situations come upon us. Joshua also gave this in Joshua 24. The 14th and 15th verse. Now therefore fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and truth. That's what the church needs to do. Serve God with their whole heart, soul, body, mind, everything they have. And put away the gods. Put away the things of this world. Put away what's not of God, which your fathers served beyond the river and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. It frustrates me sometimes what I have seen on Facebook that preachers are listening and giving praise to these worldly singers, to the things of the devil, when they need to serve God 100%. I was even thinking this morning all the different things that, no, you don't have to be like me, but you need to be like Jesus. He didn't have anything to do with the world. He didn't even have anything to do with the worldly church that did not serve God properly. But Joshua says, you can do what you want and serve the other gods. You can do what you want and go beyond and do whatever you want. But he said, if it's disagreeable in your sight to serve the Lord, if you don't want to do that, choose today whom you're going to serve. The ultimatum, many times, I have run across a few times in ministry, that God gives, said, this is your question here. This is the question here. Which do you want? He gives you that choice. Do you want death or do you want life? Mm-hmm. Choose yourself today whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served, which were beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you are living. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. That means 100%. Do away with anything that honors Satan. And I believe that, especially with the Halloween we just had. Anything to do with Halloween, even good things, even good parties, even good things are still honoring Satan. So that's just an example. We can't have anything to do with Satan. It is too critical in this day and time to not serve God with your whole heart, to not give him everything, to seek God. You're going to lose friends. You're going to lose family. But who cares? It's death or life. Your life is on the line. Your spiritual mind and body is on the line. Which do you choose? Of course, the Israelites said, yeah, we're going to serve the Lord. He said, well, then you're going to be blessed. You're going to be blessed tremendously. Hallelujah, Jesus. Isaiah, he gives us a question. He said, well, okay, if you want, he says, everyone that thirsts, come to the waters and you'll have no money. If you don't have anything, it doesn't matter. I give you freely. Come buy wine and milk without money and without cost. Why do you spend money on what is not bread and your wages on what does not satisfy? Listen carefully and eat what is good and delight yourself in abundance. Incline your ear and come to me. Listen that you may live. That's what my thought is. And I know it's the Spirit of God in me. I may seem harsh sometimes when my things I say, I had to disconnect to a friend one time. But I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you what thus saith the Lord. Listen and you can live. Listen, because if it's the word of God, listen to me. If it's not, turn your ears away. That you may live, and I will make an everlasting covenant with you according to the faithful mercies shown to David. Everlasting covenant. That's our eternity. That's everything beyond. The blessings that come, that David was blessed, even though he had his mistakes, but he chose, his mind was God. The kind of attitude and mind that we have that is of the Lord. And of course, I won't read these scriptures, but there's a long list of scriptures in Matthew 6. I use these scriptures a lot. You store up treasures on earth. You seek after money. You seek after food. We see this with the food giveaways. People want to come for food, but they don't want to be preached to. Yeah. People you can have these things. Sure, we need these things. What do you seek after? What is your first priority? What is your top priority in life? I've told my family many times, I'm like my mother. I'm going to serve God, and that comes first before family functions. That comes first before I visit. My sister knows that. She lives in Kansas City, and I only see her maybe once a year if I do it all. Because God comes first. I'll seek him above anything else. There's some times that I'll just get away and say, Lord, I got to just spend some time. He's that important. My livelihood, physically, spiritually, and mentally, depends on where I'm at. I've testified in many testimonies throughout the years, and some of them will be in the new book, that because of Jesus, I'm even alive. It's because of Jesus, I'm even mentally healthy. I could be in a mental institution. I could have committed suicide many times. I could have been killed by Satan himself, of which he has tried. Been in accidents, been in all kinds of things. But because of my heart, that I would rather have God, I would rather come to an empty church and worship God and really feel his presence than go to a church that they jump and shout and you hear all kinds of noise, but no real praise and worship to the true God. That's a sad story to tell. And even some Pentecostal churches, that there's no true worship. He said, I will worship. He wants us to worship him in spirit and in truth. He wants us. He wants to be part of us. That's why in the New Testament church that thousands were saved. 20,000 were saved in the first year of the church. Why? Because they honored God and they wanted to serve God. They had a heart for the things of God. They wanted God above all. And even Jesus says at the end, 6:33 says, seek ye all these things in this world. But if you seek him first, he'll give you your needs. He'll bring you in your family. He'll give you your finances. He'll give you the jobs. He'll bring all these other things. That's where the prosperity comes. Putting him first above your money. Putting him first above even your children. Putting him first above your husband or your spouse. Putting him above everything. Think it was easy? No. When you love your family, it's not easy. But when you do, you're so blessed and have such I don't know, not to give me praise, but there's such a difference in the anointing and the walk that I have with God because I did that. And I realized because my mom had that attitude, the anointing was heavy on her life. And God really moved through her, through many things. So we need to seek him with our whole heart. That's everything. Seek and find, desire, and to strive after. Investigate, worship. It's to search out with all we can. Searching through the word. Because he's there. What his character is, who he is. Searching him in prayer. Searching him through fasting. There's many times through the years, especially waiting this promise and waiting on some things or doing stuff, God will say, do you really want it? Are you going to be willing and committed to do something that takes it, to get it? So do we really want God or we just want to play with him? So many are playing with him, but we don't want that to happen. He'll pass over you when the judgment time comes. He says, I never knew you. We need to seek after him and want him. And Psalms 34 says that, oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. He's blessed. Desire the things of God and seek after him with our whole heart. And know him and want him so bad. You know, there's a term that you want something so bad it aches. That's the type of feeling that I have. You know, some have it, some don't. But regardless, it is, how is your heart? How much do you really want God? How much does He mean to you? Or is He just a passing fad? Or just a time to tradition because everybody goes to church? Or is He just there to meet that need? Okay, Lord, I'll come back next year. He wants to be there 24/7 in your lives, overflowing your life and giving you life abundantly. A life that Jesus said is so abundant, so mighty, so strong that He says, if you ask anything, I will do it. That kind of relationship. And when things hit and when things go, and this is what I really teach and preach and strongly urge, having that strong desire and relationship with God, so when the troubles hit, and they will, and I have prophesied, I've heard it many times through others, that persecution is heading for the church. What is it going to take? My mom always said sometimes it takes persecution to wake up the church. Persecution, troubles, lack of food, lack of money, lack of jobs. So many will go along, I'll get him when I'm feeling better, when I have money, or when I have a car. There was another message I have, that God takes no excuses. So it is important that we have such a relationship with Him that when the troubles come, just like there's a story that Jesus told, that you're standing strong on that rock. When the storms of life hit, you're safe. You will not falter. You'll be able to help others. You'll be able to spread the news. You know, even though we're on a fixed income and a little bit lower income, but I know we're blessed. Why? Because we put God first, even in our monies. We put God first in our lives. Put God first in our home. We could have just went on with life the way it was. His dad would have died without salvation. His mom would have died with 12 demons in her. She had 12 demons, the Lord said. But I wouldn't allow it. I said, no, I want to serve God, and God's going to deliver, because that's a promise, and she's part of our promise. God will do so many things for us. All we have to do is go over here and say, Lord, I want you with my whole heart, and put your arms around Him and make love to Him and show Him how much you want of Him. We want the same thing in the natural. He gave us that. We're just like Him. We're made in His image. So we need to want Him so bad that that's all that counts. That's all that matters.